podcast. Today's episode 1, and we have a very special guest, Big Aluminum from Colorado, who just put out his first studio album. Oh, look, someone's got opinions tonight. How's it going, Mr. Big Aluminum?
Not too bad. How are you doing, my guy?
Doing pretty well. This is the first podcast, so hopefully it goes well.
I'm honored to be guest number 1.
Yeah, thanks so much. You were one of the first people I asked, too. So, for those of you who don't know, I just mentioned this earlier, but he just put out an album. So, you want to tell us a bit about it, or just anything?
Yeah. Like you said, it's called Oh Look, Someone's Got Opinions Tonight. And I think it came out on the 11th.
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty much, it's like 10 songs written end of last year, kind of beginning of this year, like almost right before COVID hit. And I finally kind of, in that next like 7-month period, I was recording and working on stuff like that. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. The response I've gotten from it has been fantastic.
That's interesting you say that, actually, because right before I got on this, maybe 20 minutes ago, I was looking. I noticed the album is 10 songs long, and then I noticed your top 10 on Spotify are all just the songs from the album.
I'm pretty okay with that. I think the album's definitely like the most well produced thing that I've put out, so I think if people are coming to the Spotify page, I think that's it.
Yeah,
a good place to start.
For those who don't know, he has 3 EPs he put out before this. So was there any difference, like, while you were creating the EPs than the album? Is there any like big creative differences in them that are like production differences that you want to like talk about?
Yeah, the first 2, I would say especially, are production wise a lot different, since they're just acoustic, guitar and vocals. They're super simple. My original plan when I started was to try to put out like 4 songs a month and just like spam content. And I don't know. I'm pretty glad I decided not to go that route, but that's why there were 2 acoustic EPs originally, because they were easiest to, like, I had songs and they're easiest to just like put down and record those 2 things. And then the third one was probably the most different in regards to songwriting, because those are a lot of recordings I had from a while ago. And by a while, I mean like the year and a half before like it came out. So Lie to Myself off of I Kiss the Homies is the first song I ever wrote, actually. And Who Was She was pretty close to that. And what are the other 2 on that?
It's Not Reversible, It's Inside Out, and Sure if you agree.
I think It's Not Reversible is like the most recent of the songs off of that EP that I'd written.
Yeah. Wait, what month? When did EP3 come out?
January, I think.
Oh, wow. So right at the beginning of 2020.
Yeah, like I think first couple days or first like week or so in January.
Yeah, I think It's Not Reversible is my favorite Big Aluminum song, just because of how like triumphant it is and like how fun it is to listen to.
Thank you.
Do you have like a favorite Big Aluminum song, or a song that means a lot to you that you've made?
Yeah, I think First Rain of Spring is my favorite song, and it's probably my favorite because it means the most to me, Do you
want to elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, for sure. It's just like it's probably the most personal song I've written, and I think I don't know, I think it's in kind of a really honest style, both like lyrically and kind of, it's not super like melodic, it's kind of like word vomit into over like a progression. And then I think it's kind of the most kind of cathartic at the end with like the big like build
Yeah,
and
yeah,
how
yeah,
erotic it
yeah.
is.
With that, it's like the outro kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I really like that one. I played that for my dad in the car one time. He thought it was really good too.
Oh hell yeah, appreciate it. Tell him I said thank you.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Um, so the album came out in December, and you had three singles for it. And the first single, "Growing Into My Emo Phase," came out. What was it, like May,
I think June or July, but yeah,
June? Yeah.
earlier.
So how much of an album do you have done by the time you decide to put out single number one?
I wish I would have had more of it done, but I was probably I think I probably had 7 songs written around that time.
Oh
Or
wow.
maybe by the time it came out, I was it was a little closer to having, I think all but one song was written at that point, but I was originally gonna put it out earlier and kind of rush myself even more, but then kind of that whole wave of like COVID and everything hit, so I held off on it for a bit. But um, I put that one out, Emo Phase, out as the first single because it was the one I had recorded that wasn't We Tennis.
Yeah. Yeah, that one kind of like reminded me of Blink-182 a bit, just because of like the title. And then, who are like your biggest musical influences? Like that influence not only just the album, but just like any music you make.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think the Front Bottoms are a huge influence. I think you probably hear
Front
it
bottoms
pretty.
are awesome.
Yeah. Um, Fredo Disco. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
No,
He's
I
like
haven't heard of them though.
he's kind of like a diet Front Bottoms. Um, but I think a lot of bands from that vein. One that I think is cool is I don't honestly listen to much Jeff Rosenstock or Bomb the Music Industry, but I have gotten that comparison a couple times with Emo Phase, especially.
Oh yeah, when you first showed me the third single for the album, "Do It, Coward," I made the modern baseball comparison.
Oh yeah, yeah, Mobo. That's another one.
Yeah, are you a Mobo fan?
I am. I think I got into, not I think, but I know I got into Mobo like super late. Like I discovered them like after they had been done for like 2 years.
Yeah, me too. But like even like later though, they've been done for like probably like 4 years when I found them.
Did you hear the new Slaughter Beach Dog album?
No, wait, maybe I did. Wait. What's it called again?
Oh, you had to ask. Let me check real quick. I can't remember. It was like a
Oh,
surprise.
at the moon base. Oh, right. No, I remember. I
Yeah,
think I remember you tweeted something about it.
yeah. I may have. I I have not listened to it yet, honestly.
Yeah,
I,
I mean, I've actually never listened to Slaughter Beach Dog before. Are
yeah.
they are they like more like DIY Twitter, or are they more like bigger in like the sort of emo? What do they tell us about
Uh,
Slaughter Beach Dog?
I think they're bigger in like the just the bigger emo community because it's the singer from Modern Baseball. I think,
Oh,
yeah, the like
oh
skinny
yeah, it's the
singer.
bassist. Yeah,
Yeah, and the bassist is in the band
yeah, the
too.
bassist and like the guitarist, or
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't remember their names though, but
But I think they were originally big because of that, but they have more of like a seasonal depression vibe than Mobo did. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's
so
like chill music. I saw a take that they're the mountain goats for Zoomers.
what did you say?
I saw a take on Twitter that they were the mountain goats for Zoomers.
Oh yeah, that's funny. Um, so what kind of music like do you listen to just like regularly?
I get a good kind of weird mix of like country and the type of music I make, and
I
like
would not imagine you to be a country fan.
I grew up on country, and I think I don't like actively seek it out, but that's what every radio station, I like go to work and there's a radio playing and it's country
Oh yeah.
music, like that
So
type of thing.
is country? So you're from Colorado, right?
Yeah, I'm from a small town, like like a tiny town. So
So were you? Oh, sorry. Go.
no, I was kind of raised on country music in the culture.
So you're born and raised in Colorado.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. And I never thought of Colorado as being such a big country place.
Yeah, it's not like it is and it's not. Like Denver and Fort Collins and like the bigger cities are not at all, but pretty much everything like east of there is just Kansas. It's like bigger Kansas. So it's lots of like farms and small towns and just like stuff like that.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's
that sounds like the perfect country scene.
yeah. So it's like Kansas but close to the mountains.
Nice. So have you ever considered going country at all?
No. And I cannot sing nearly well enough. Like emo music's like I feel like one of the few genres where you don't actually have to be able to sing. You just
Right.
have
That's I was thinking that the other day. Yeah.
to.
So on the album, there's 10 songs, but then there's two songs that were from EPs already, but
Yes.
which were We Tennis and See You in My Dreams. And there wasn't a third one, right?
No, it was just those two. Yeah.
So how did you pick which EP songs made the album?
Well, I think We Tennis at that point had done like better and gotten more response than anything else I had put out by like a long shot. Um, so I think I'd already kind of had plans to record that like full band, and I think
Oh yeah.
it kind of ended up like when I originally decided to release an album, like or put together an album, it was kind of like already on my list of songs that I wanted to include. Um, and I think "See You in My Dreams" was like the first song I wrote that I was like ever really proud of. That I was like, oh, that's actually I feel like that's a pretty good song, and that was
Yeah.
probably like a little over. I think I wrote that one in like spring of 2019. That's winter, spring
Oh, so
2019.
then when did Space Heater came out in later 2019 then?
Yeah, and what songs are on that? Well, Campfire was actually first, and then Space Heater. And Campfire had We
Right.
Tennis. It had like some songs I'd written more recently on that.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the Campfire EP right now, and I noticed there's like dots in between each letter. Is Campfire like a acronym for something?
No, it's a terrible reference of that SpongeBob episode. Do you know the one I'm talking about? Like the CAMPFIRESONG song. That one.
I can't say that I do, which is kind of sad
No,
because I used to think of myself as a big SpongeBob fan. So
tragic. That was probably before your time. I didn't know SpongeBob could be before your time. But that was probably that was like when I was actively watching SpongeBob. So that would have been like 10 plus
dang.
years ago. But I don't think there was really any more rhyme or reason behind that. I think I had that and like there's one other potential like title that I had, but I can't remember it now.
So when did you start making music? So because like on Spotify, I can see you go back to early 2019, but was was there a time before Big Aluminum? Like, oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I think I can't remember because I deleted. I used to put things just up on SoundCloud. Like I would finish recording a song and I just upload it and then like maybe post it to Facebook. I wasn't like doing much. But that was probably shit. I would say summer of 2018 was when I started like recording it, and maybe a year or two before that I started like writing music. I'd always played guitar, but never anything like too serious, and I just kind of
Okay.
got more and more into it.
So you played guitar like essentially your whole life?
I think I picked it up in high school. I didn't like take lessons or anything. I just like taught myself songs that I wanted to
Yeah.
learn. Kind of went from there.
So I think I'm gonna ask something that a lot of people are wondering. How did you get the name Big Aluminum?
Yeah. I think the first song I had recorded, I wanted to put it up. I think it was okay. It was a love song actually for an ex-girlfriend that it doesn't. I think I probably have like the recording in GarageBand, but it's like not up anywhere. Um, and I wanted to like put it up on SoundCloud and like show her and like my uncle mainly. So I was like thinking like, I don't want to just put it out like under my name. So, and that was like in the top, that was in the list of like my just in my notes app in my phone of like potential band names. And it stemmed from like a conversation that me and a roommate had where I was talking about like as a joke, like naming something like Reynolds Wrap or whatever a big tinfoil company is. And he made the joke, aren't you worried about big aluminum coming after you? Like big oil coming after you.
That's good. That's funny.
It is funny, but like it's so obscure that nobody's ever gonna like only like 8 people are ever gonna know that.
Well, maybe if this podcast does well, I don't know.
Oh yeah, touche.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully.
But yeah, it just, and I think I put it in my notes app then and came back to it when I needed the name. And I don't know why that one stuck out over the other ones. Probably because I liked the story.
Yeah,
but
it had a nice ring to it. I think it does.
Hell yeah, I appreciate that. I feel like I regret it more and more every day.
Because when you started following me like on Twitter back in like the beginning of the year, and I followed you back, I remember it's like, well, Big Aluminum, that sounds sick. Like I need to. And then like right after I started following you, you released Growing Into My Emo Phase, and then I had to go check it out, and I thought it just sounded so like cool and like raw almost. I don't know. I really enjoyed the way it was.
Oh, appreciate that.
So, speaking of this podcast potentially doing well, I would say our best audience would be the DIY Twitter community that you're so actively involved in. So, do you want to say a little bit about? You want to explain to the people listening like what the DIY Twitter community is and like how it's like helped you or like how you've contributed to it?
Yeah, it's weird.
Explain it even.
I think DIY emo Twitter has like definitely like a main like niche group that are like the kind of like leaders and the puppet masters. And then I think I'm sitting in like a nice niche group off of that. And I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at. And I think like the big group, DIY Twitter, is just basically a bunch of like weird emo kids making music and like posting online. And it just kind of grew into like a scene from there, I feel.
Yeah, it's such a strange but like so welcome subgenre though, and everyone's there. It's so nice, and the music's so like raw and like nice to listen to. I don't know.
No, for sure. I think like the main group gets like muddied down a lot of like just stupid stuff and people like reacting to stupid stuff. But I think the subgroups are like they're super supportive. Like everybody that we know really like are you gonna have Joe on? I think I saw a tweet.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Joe and Klaus and the Cider Sippers.
Oh, dope. Klaus will be Klaus is like he's like S tier DIY Twitter, so he'll be a good guy. He's
so
like,
funny too. Because I had him on Instagram Live a few times, and we just started talking. I was like, wait, save it for the podcast, because we were having like some cool conversations about music and stuff.
Like one of the first, not one of the, probably one of the first people that like reached out to me on DIY Twitter. Now that I think about it, it was probably like pretty close to like after Campfire dropping. I think actually, I think Klaus was like a bottom floor homie. No. He like was like, hey, like that was dope. And then we got to talking and he sent me like, I think what became the original Klaus and the Cider Sippers demos that he doesn't like to talk about anymore.
Blue Eye. So you got Twitter right when Campfire dropped, or?
I maybe a little after. I don't actually, I had the account, like I wasn't really using it, but I made it at some point for something. So the account was probably created a while ago, but I think I just got on Twitter maybe like a week before Campfire, maybe a week after, like right around when it dropped.
Nice.
And actually, St. Judas, I don't know how much you've talked to him.
Oh yeah, I actually messaged with him the other night. He's probably gonna be on this too. Yeah.
Dope. Yeah, he is one of like the most wholesome individuals you'll ever meet.
Yeah, and everyone on there is so nice and wholesome. Actually, yeah.
Seriously, yeah. If you're looking for more people, I'm sure Nick from Blue Vines would be down too. I don't know if you.
Oh yeah, I need to talk. I need to listen to them. I haven't even checked them out yet, but yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I have one more question for you here. Well, actually two, but so. Okay, I hope I'm not wrong here, but isn't it the track "I'm Ready, I'm Ready," track 7 that has the secret track at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, that really reminded me of the 1975 because they have a secret track. But I'm sure lots of people have secret tracks though, so I just haven't found them yet. But I think the idea of secret tracks are like so cool. Like, how did you decide to do a secret track on your album?
I honestly never really thought about it as a secret track. I thinking about it now, it is like by definition, that's totally what it is. Do you know Remo? How much do you know? Listen to Remo Drive.
I've never heard of them.
You bastard. Look up. Their most popular song, "You're Killing Me," has like an outro. It's just like a punk song, and then it has like a really like outro kind of, and that's kind of I had just I think a lot of the time just around the house I'll like sing stupid shit and to my girlfriend and my dog, and one of the things was the "I'm gonna annoy my pit bull" thing.
Yeah,
and it got a pretty good reaction, so I wrote it down, and then I just kind of wrote the with that Remo Drive like outro in mind. I kind of just wrote the little like musical part underneath it. But for the idea of hidden tracks, I don't know if you like Days and Days at all. They're folk punk.
Folk punk. Yeah, dude, folk is so underrated.
I love it. I think at heart I'm a folk punk boy.
Yeah. I was trying to start a folk band with my friends, and I was going to call it Greater Kailua Metro Area, but now I'm just using that name for this podcast instead.
Never let a good name go to waste.
Exactly. One final thing here. Oh, also, wait. Two final things, actually. But this isn't a question. This is just a comment. The kazoo solo on Too Poor and Not Good Enough at Basketball.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Thank you. That's like when I first heard that, like, cause I sent it to a buddy. Or not sent it to a buddy, but I had a buddy that like I worked on the album with, and he was like mastering and mixing stuff. And we recorded 10 kazoo parts probably, and like a couple whistling parts. And I had no idea what it was going to sound like when he put them together. But I think he said there were 8 kazoos on the recording.
Dang. That's awesome.
I derailed what you were saying.
Yeah, that whole track, the whole album is so good, but there's definitely some really special moments on it, like the first track there, like with like how the intro is and how it kind of gets you by surprise, and then the kazoo solo. But anyway, my final question here is, if you had to give the person listening one Big Aluminum song that you think they have to check out for them to become a fan, that will make them be interested in your music, or just one song, and one song not by you that you think everyone just has to hear at least once in their life.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good question. I'd say if you're gonna listen to one Big Aluminum track, listen to Too Poor Not Good Enough at Basketball. I think that's my current favorite that I've in, because that one I think improved the most when it went from just acoustic guitar to like a full band thing.
For sure.
Been a recent favorite. And then a song everybody should hear at least once. Oof. I'll stay in the folk punk vein and say "Once a Loser, Always a Loser" by Happy Happy.
Nice. I'll have to check that out too. Well, anyway, it's been real. If you want to plug anything right now, go ahead. Really.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. First off, listen to Lil Vorse. Yeah, but check out if you have the time, check out a lot of the bands we've mentioned. I'm good friends with a lot of them, and they're super talented people. How I Became Invisible, also Derek Christensen.
Oh yeah.
I don't think Sad Act. I don't know if I've left anybody out, but if I have, I'm sorry. But yeah, wear a mask, I guess.
Oh yeah, respect for that. Anyway, thank you all for listening, and thank you for coming on the show, Big Aluminum. His podcast, his album, Oh Look, Someone's Got Opinions Tonight, is out now on all platforms, and make sure to go give it a stream. It's really good. Thank you. I'll see you in the next podcast.